Well, welcome to day 3. Today we're going to talk about how to find motivated sellers. And if you follow along in your ebook, you're going to see on page 3 that it starts there. But the most important thing to understand is that without enough motivated sellers, you're not going to find enough deals. And so you've got to have multiple ways of trying to market to get sellers to either call you or ways you can find them easily. Because the bottom line is we want to find them easy and inexpensively. So I'm going to share with you some of my favorite ways that have worked well for me over the last 25 years, 26 years in this business. And you're going to figure out which ones work best for you, but I'll tell you why I like them. And they're in no certain order, by the way. So let's start with Craigslist. Craigslist is actually one of my these are my top 3, okay? Craigslist, Realtors, and Real Estate Investor Associations. But we'll get to those. So Craigslist is really important because it is free. It's free for me to post. It's free for me to search. It's free for me to pick up the phone and call a seller. So we're going to talk about how to actually call them and what to say to Craigslist tomorrow. And the next day I'm going to actually make some live calls for you. So you'll get to hear me do what I do, which is pick up the phone and call. And I'll show you how easy it is and how to get 30 to 50% of sellers saying yes when you know where to find those ads in Craigslist. So we'll discuss that tomorrow. So Craigslist is one of my favorites. The next one is Bandit Signs. And they're called Bandit Signs because in most towns, they're actually illegal to put up. Have you ever seen those We Buy Houses signs are on telephone poles? They're stuck in yards. Most of the time, or on corners of busy streets, they're usually illegal, meaning that you're not supposed to do that. So you might get a fine. And many investors, they don't care. They'll go ahead and put out bandit signs anyways because the leads are worth a lot more than the fine would ever be. So just check with your municipality and see if that would work for you. But those are like those big corrugated yellow signs, and I buy those with the sticks for about $2 each. So they're very inexpensive. And if you're ever renovating a house or working on a particular house, one of the tips is before the house is ready, put the sign in the yard. We buy houses for cash. Let the neighbors know that that's what you do. I've bought many houses from neighbors of homes that I have, from neighbors of the home that I already bought. Does that make sense? Anyways, hopefully you got that. But so that's really, really important. Again, that's Bandit Signs. The third thing is advertisements in the newspaper or Craigslist. I've got quite a few ads in here that I use, specifically ads that are going to attract sellers to call me. For either lease options or seller financing. Things like company looking for 3 to 4 homes in this area for long-term lease. Well, what that says to me is that I'm looking for someone who's willing to let me control that property for a long time. They want a long-term tenant. And there's several other ones also. Now, if you put them in the newspaper, they're going to cost you money. Put them in Craigslist, they're free. And I always tell all my students, look, try in multiple areas of Craigslist too, because again, it's free. Change the wording, shake it up a little bit, put it in different categories, different cities near you that might attract people to call you personally on those ads. The next one, tear off flyers. Those are those little flyers, they're like, they might hang at your departments, your drugstores or your like a Rite Aid or Walgreens or one of those, and they might hang on their bulletin board or in your grocery stores, and they have the little tear-offs where you can tear off the information. Use those. We buy houses. Do you want to sell your home? Do you want to move on? Those work very well. Real estate agents, number 5. Ooh, they are one of my very favorite ways to find deals. Primarily right now I find a lot of bank-owned properties from REO agents, which is real estate owned agents, and that's all the foreclosures. I also work with a lot of real estate agents to buy lease options and seller financing, because those that are not bank-owned many times don't want to drop the price as low as, say, a bank property would be, but they're willing to give terms to get a better price. And what I mean by that is they'll give me 10 years maybe to pay the price that they want versus paying it today. So that can work out really well for you. And realtors are going to be key as we, go throughout our time together here, because real estate agents have the gold. 80 to 90% of the homes listed in the U.S. are listed by real estate agents. So it just goes to show that there's a high percentage of inventory controlled by them. So we want to really figure out how we can tap in and work with real estate agents to get more leads. The next one, long-term MLS listings. Well, that's kind of working with real estate agents also. What that means is MLS is the multiple listing service that real estate agents use. And what I'm looking for is properties that have been sitting on the market that haven't sold for many months, three months minimum. Usually in most markets maybe it would be 5 or 6 months, because we're in such a buyer's market today that I would want that property to have sat on the market a little bit longer, which also means the seller's more motivated. Also, along with that one, expired listings, properties that didn't sell at all. They were listed by an agent, they didn't sell, so that expired listing. Now, I'm an agent, so I can pull those up myself. If you're not a licensed agent, you could work with a licensed agent to either pay them for the list to give to you, or you could tell them that if you buy anything from the expired list, that you'll give them X dollars, $500, $250, whatever. Work it out with them. If you have a good friend, they might just do it for you free. For me, for instance, all I got to do is enter in a search in my MLS, and it'll send me an email every day of the type of homes that I look for. And I have a lot of searches going. Some lakefront homes for my husband and myself. I'll look for my low end in one particular area. I look for short sales in another area. Buy a lot of those also, because those are really good right now. Bank-owned properties, private-owned properties, meaning I want to make sure they're not bank-owned, because then I know that they can consider doing something creative, where they do seller carry or seller mortgages or seller financing for me, so I don't have to go through a lender to get that. The next one, out-of-state owners. Ooh, those are great. Finding owners that, and you can do this usually through your tax records, or maybe you can buy a list if it's not public record for you. For me, for instance, in my area in Michigan, I can do a search on non-owner occupied properties. So I know that it's either bank-owned or it is, non-owner occupied. It's either going to be bank-owned or the owner doesn't live in the property. It was either rental property, an investment property, or was their residence and then they moved somewhere else. So I love out-of-state owners, or even non-homeowner occupied would fit right in there if you're writing notes right next to these. Vacant homes. How do you know if a home is vacant? I mean, there's lots of ways to find out. Number one is drive by and you can usually tell which ones. If I'm driving down the street, my husband and I can just, we'll go, that's almost a foreclosure. Ooh, seller doesn't live there. Ooh, that one, they're in trouble. So what you can do is write letters to those homeowners. You can find out who owns that home, send a letter directly to them. Now, if it's a bank, forget that. You're not going to get to the owner. They can sometimes sit on the market for many, many months, bank owned, before they ever hit the MLS. And they all pretty much go through real estate agents. So you're not going to be able to avoid that. But those owner, or those personally owned, privately owned homes that are vacant, really great. Why? Because they've already moved and they didn't need to sell their home in order to move. So I love vacant properties. A hint, talk to your postmaster. Many times the postmaster knows who just moved, but who is getting their mail forwarded, versus which ones are being rejected because the forwarding is expired, versus which ones are bank owned, which ones are getting those stickers on the walls we're being foreclosed on. Talk to your post guy or gal, by the way. The next one, real estate investor clubs. These are the real estate investor associations, or clubs, RIAs we call them. This is where investors that are like-minded get together in different areas to discuss real estate and learn together. I run the Michigan Real Estate Investors Association, so if you're in Michigan, please come visit us. But there are these RIAs in almost every city in the country, certainly the larger cities. And in most larger cities, there may be 4 or 5. For instance, in my area, there's 4 or 5 RIAs in the Metro Detroit area. And so you're going to want to attend those and check them out and make sure you're meeting people. In my RIA, I've found lots of deals. Other investors that want to flip deals, that want to wholesale them, meaning they bought them really cheap and they're willing to sell them really cheap still, where an investor can make money, but they make a little bit too. Some of them want to just get rid of their portfolio and liquidate. Maybe they're a burned out landlord. They're getting out of the investment business. They're moving from Michigan to Florida, for instance. So check those out. Great way to network and learn about this whole business of real estate investing. Corporate relocation departments. A lot of times they have a lot of inventory that is not sold. You can talk to some different companies that you know in your area. The larger companies tend to sometimes have relocation offers and packages for their employees that move out of state. So a lot of times that's inventory that they're willing to dump or to sell at a good discount. Your local chamber of commerce. Again, let them know what you do. Maybe join your chamber and let them know that you're an investor. You buy, because there's real estate agents that are members of the Chamber of Commerce. There's homeowners in there. There's business owners that hear from other business owners who might be having financial trouble, or who might be wanting to sell their home, or who might be moving out of your state or area. So your local Chamber of Commerce is another great place to find deals. Word of mouth. That's the last one on this one. And word of mouth is so key because you can find a lot of deals just by letting people know what you do. I get so many deals that come to me, including from local real estate attorneys. They'll call me up because one of their clients maybe inherited a property, a probate property, or they want to liquidate their estate. And they know that I'm an investor that will follow through and buy properties that are offered to me. So check those out. Tomorrow, I'm going to go through the script of what to actually say when you call someone right out of Craigslist, which are free and easy ways to put deals together. See you tomorrow.